Well, this is Tom Artz from Millersburg, PA, and Tom's a bow hunter that just went 2 for 2. And how does this rank among your bow kills, Tom?
It's my best bow kill to date.
That's your best?
Yes, it is.
Pretty happy with him. How you like that tree stand?
I love it. Dave did an excellent job, Dave Gottschall. I told him what the deer were doing the first 2 days, and by the next third day I was in that stand, moved, and I was right in the action.
And let's see, the first 2 days, how many, well, let's talk about you each day saw an average of probably how many deer?
An average about 25 deer a day.
And how many bucks a day?
At least 8, sometimes 10, and usually at least 2 shooters a day.
And then the best buck you saw in there was probably a 150-10, I think?
150, maybe 160 10 point. Yep. So real close to 160.
How many of those deer picked you up in that oak?
None. They were walked right underneath my stand. They had no idea I was there. I was totally hidden, and I still had really good shooting lanes. Perfect opportunity when one of the big boys made the right mistake. And as soon as they started chasing the doe, it didn't take long, and one made the mistake of following one of the doe right in the shoot lane, and he had no clue.
So if you come back next year, you think you want to get in that same stand?
I'm gonna get in that same stand. I don't want to hunt anywhere else.
Well,
I'm gonna be dreaming about that stand.
We'll call it Jake's Farm. It's a little more marketable. Some hunters call it the pig farm. I don't know why hunters don't want to hunt a pig farm, but that's the part of the story we'll let Tom tell. What's it like hunting in the pigs, and tell them about your deer, Tom.
Well, the pig farm is unique. It sounds like you're surrounded by monsters all day long. They're screaming and yelling, and they're walking by you, and they're fighting, butting heads. And you wonder, how in the heck am I going to see a deer when you first see all them pigs? But these deer do not mind. I watch bedded deer just let them pigs walk right by them. They don't bother the deer one bit. They live together all the time.
In fact, it makes deer less spooky. They're accustomed to noise, so you can make a mistake in that stand, and those deer hear banging and metal. So what's the downside of hunting the pig farm?
Downside of hunting the pig farm is if you take a shot and hit it back in the guts like I did, we gave it 15 hours. And by the next morning, they found it. It was probably expired in at least 5 hours, 6 hours, and the pigs found it. In that last 10 hours, all they did was eat. And I have some bones and a nice good cape and my horns.
And the good news is there's enough left. We think. We're pretty comfortable. There's enough cape for a shoulder mount. Hold him up and let the folks know. And then tell them what happened to David trying to get him away from the pigs.
Well, Dave had to fight the pigs for this deer. Dave came across this deer, and this was all that was left. Right here.
And for some,
Dave fought for this and got it back from the pigs for me, and I'm very fortunate because the cape wasn't disturbed, so I'm still going to be able to mount this deer with his original cape.
Thank goodness. And if they had, we'd have got you another cape.
Absolutely.
The main thing is the horns, isn't it?
Absolutely. They didn't touch the horns.
How do you like Illinois compared to hunting in PA?
There's no comparison. No comparison at all. There's so many deer here, so many buck, and the ratio is perfect. The mature bucks and the doe, they do what they're supposed to do here. You can watch them in their natural habitat and watch them do what they're supposed to do. They're not pressured, and that's the best. You can't describe it when you're sitting in that tree stand and the stuff you see these deer do. You can rattle them in, run them in, lead them in, snort wheeze them in. They do it all, and you don't see that in PA.
How much fun was this camp this week with our 10 bow hunters?
It's like a family. Everybody gets along, and we have a blast. I look forward to next year. 10
bow hunters killed 6 bucks. We had a 60% kill rate. How many shots do you remember those 10 bow hunters had?
I believe it was up around 11.
12.
12 shots.
That's 120% shot opportunity. We had a lot of east wind, which our deer move less in east wind. We had a lot of 15, 20 mile an hour wind. The conditions were not ideal, but we don't have the average bow hunters.
Right.
If our bow hunters shoot, they're pretty good. And these tree stands, they're outstanding.
They're excellent.
We're going to see you next year.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave Gottschall.